G'day world, we are live here in a Boeing 747-200. We're here with the CEO of Qantas Founders Museum, Tony. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good afternoon. Pretty warm, but it's a great afternoon here in Longreach.
Great afternoon. It's about 42 plus in here in the cockpit with captain and first officer. So we're going to be talking to Tony a little bit about what we did this morning. We went and took some B-roll footage of the museum, took a tour, saw some planes. So Chris will play that while we're having a quick chat. So, Tony, Wikipedia can be sometimes wrong, but this Qantas was originally founded, or what was the story behind it? Because it says it's been founded in Winton. So is that correct?
Yeah, so all those outback towns are really important. So Cloncurry, it was actually where the idea for the airline was conceived, where they had the idea. So they then decided to hold the very first board meeting in Winton. So that's Winton's claim to fame, was the very first board meeting, and we absolutely love making sure we tell people that. And then it was at that board meeting they decided to start the airline here in Longreach, and that was basically the practicality of having a major railway line come through to this part of the outback, and so to service an airline from here made a world of sense.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your background and why you've come to Longreach. You're originally from Longreach?
No. So I'm originally from the UK.
Okay.
Don't hold that against me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your background. So the museum opened in 1996. Tell us a little bit the story of how that started and how you got involved.
Yeah, sure. So which one first? I suppose my background.
Yeah, your background.
Yeah, so I fell into tourism when I moved to Australia in 1997 and got involved with the Sydney Harbour Bridge climb project, and then Story Bridge in Brisbane. Helped with those projects, and then moved out to here in 2008. So 10 years here in Longreach, and really content and proud to be part of such an amazing story that started out here in the bush. So our museum actually was started from humble beginnings, just like the airline, and it started in our National Heritage listed hangar in 1996. So a humble little tin shed where some local graziers decided to start a museum and pay homage to those founders and that story that's entrenched in the bush. The catalyst for that was a replica Avro aircraft being offered to the Australian Stockman's Hall of Fame, which didn't fit their collection at the time, and therefore, an opportunity was to these locals were to seize that opportunity, keep that plane, take that display and display it in Longreach. So the museum was born in a humble little tin hangar over there, but those founders, like the founders of the airline, I think had an amazing vision that the museum had to be something quite unique and amazing, and which it is today. It's a multi-million-dollar modern museum which attracts just over 42,000 visitors a year, employs 35 staff, and is still growing and still getting bigger and bigger with more projects on the go.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and to be honest, before coming out here and before actually knowing that I was heading to Longreach, I actually didn't know there was a Founders Museum, so I've learned something on this trip as well. So you're doing a lot of trips. First off, it's a bit of change of scenery coming from cold weather to outback Longreach.
Yeah, I think a lot of my friends, especially back in the UK, when you try and explain where you live in a town, which a region that's takes in three other wonderful little towns. Population around 4,000 people, and I grew up in a city in London with I think 18 million people in London, and I try and paint the picture of how awesome this outback is and the community, and it's hard for people to comprehend at first, but I think when you get out here and you realise how special and how lucky we are. I'm 2 minutes from anything in town, and may get stuck behind a Cobb & Co coach on the way to work, some horses, but that's about it.
And maybe a bit of road trains coming down the other way you got to watch out for.
Yeah, look, there's always the road trains, but those in themselves are a wonderful, unique scene.
Yeah.
And the amount of visitors we get out here that stop and photograph them road trains. Not always in the appropriate place when they stop to photograph them, but you know, it is another attraction of the region we live in.
Yeah, awesome. So you said you worked on a few projects in Brisbane and Sydney.
Yep.
And you were talking to you earlier, and you're working on a big project here, getting up at like 4 a.m., working on a 7-day plus project. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's we're putting back together and restoring a super constellation aircraft, and it's been 2.5 years into the project already. It's an aircraft that they're incredibly rare. There's hardly any of them around the world anymore, and we were very lucky to recover one from the Philippines in Manila.
Wow.
So we managed to get it and rescue it from where it'd been sat for 26 years, which is about 3 foot of mud. So we were over there on the end of the shovel, and a team of marvellous volunteers from Qantas and other engineers came over, and the locals over there were just brilliant to help us recover that aircraft. Then we dismantled it, and we had to look at different ways of getting those components back to Australia
Safely.
And we did that by shipping them.
Yep.
So in May last year, 2017, we shipped it from Manila Seaport through to Townsville, and then on a truck into Longreach. So currently we're about to start blasting with a glass bead to remove all the old paint and
Yep.
and surface, and then we'll then prime it and paint it. So that's all going to happen in the next 6 weeks, believe it or not.
Wow, that's awesome. So we might have to come back, guys, and check out the new plane. So tell us a little bit about the community stuff behind the Qantas Museum. We were talking earlier, you said it's a big part of the community. It was founded by community members. Could you give us a bit of insight what you guys do for the community?
Yeah, absolutely. The museum itself has always been incredibly focused on community and community first. You know, it's the relationship we have that, you know, your community then become ambassadors and for what you do. So a community that started the museum, but we now we're seen as one of the we're more than a museum. We're a bit of a community hub with all the different events and things we do outside just being a regular museum. We employ 35 people, so that's just over $1 million in wages a year straight back into the community of Longreach. Last year we had our second best year, and we received just over 42,500 visitors. They usually stay in Longreach for about 3 to 4 nights, so that's well over $10 million spent as a result of coming to see our attraction. So hopefully, well, I say hopefully, I think we're pretty confident once the Super Constellation is ready in July this year, our visitors can come and enjoy that exhibit. You know, we're expecting an increase of somewhere between 13-15% on last year because of that aircraft, which will mean we'll create more jobs. You know, there'll be more sustainability for our community, and that flow-on effect is just amazing.
Great stuff, and it's very important in such a small town to get everyone sort of working together and collaborating, and obviously promoting the region, getting more tourists back here.
Yeah.
So I don't want to stay in here too long. It's starting to get a bit hot, and
well, I actually put you in the wrong seat. You should have been sitting in the captain's seat with the sun on your back, and I should have been first officer in the cooler seat.
I have to work up the ranks for that.
Clearly, you're the one with the brains.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, Tony.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll quickly get out this heat, and I'll play around with some few buttons and see.
Right, let's go. Ready?
Yeah, let's go. Catch you guys.
Cheers.
Awesome. Thank you.